Hi there. I have a question for you. Do you like onion rings? I mean, the flavor of onion rings without all that grease? Of course you do. They're so delicious. And do you kind of struggle with trying to find new veggies to integrate into your diet in your effort to be healthy? Well, if so, you have come to the right place. I'm Dr. Sally Lamont, and I want to welcome you to Dr. Sally's Kitchen, my home for using food as medicine. So today, I want to introduce you to one of my favorite veggies, and one that you might not be using, and it's called a leek. And a leek is a member of the onion family, the allium family, along with garlic and shallots and chives. Only these guys are, and I should say along with scallions, are green onions, because this is one gigantic green onion. But it is different. It's a much more substantial veggie to begin with. But like onions, it's going to add some really wonderful flavor to your food and a lot of really wonderful nutritional benefits. So let's start with how to use this, and I'll tell you about all the details. So when you first encounter these in the store, they may have really long green leaves. The first thing that you're going to want to do is stabilize and then cut off the green at about that level. Save this, rinse it super well, because as you can see, hiding down under these leaves is the sandy loam that the leek grew in. So once you rinse these well, just rough chop them, throw them in the freezer, and put the dark green leaves into a stock. They're actually very rich in a polyphenol or a flavonoid called kaempferol that has positive health effects, antioxidant health effects for our cardiovascular system. But we don't actually eat these. They are just too thick and tough. So we're going to get rid of those. Now, if I weren't doing this live, I would go over to the sink and continue to rinse this, because you can see that there are some a little bit more of the sand down in there. So we'll just pull off the little outer sleeve, and then we're ready to take care of the root. Now, like a green onion, I don't mean root. Yeah, roots. Like a green onion, it has a little cluster of roots. So this one has already been kind of cleaned up and chopped off from the grocery store. But now that you have this prepped, I like to cut them into rings on an angle, about 1/4 of an inch, and cut through all the way so that they become distinct and aren't just stuck together. And I'm going to tell you how I use these in just a few minutes. So we'll go ahead and prep this into these lovely rings, and you can see how it is very much like a green onion. So we'll get down to where it starts to get seriously green. This is the part that we're going to cook with. So green onions, leeks, I just have to tell you, honestly have a long history of use. These are prized in French cooking, but they have been found buried in tombs in Egypt 3,000–4,000 years ago. And it turns out that the leek is actually the emblem for the country of Wales. So this is not just some new health food. These are historically beloved vegetables, as I hope they will become for you. So the way that we usually use leeks is in a soup. They are wonderful, just tossed in to minestrone, the Italian vegetable soup. And I want you to know that you can get my recipe for a delicious minestrone at my website, drsallyskitchen.com. And there's a link to it in the description of this Facebook Live. So soups, that's the place you start. Minestrone, the vichyssoise or a potato leek soup is another wonderful application. I sometimes throw them into my chicken soup, and the recipe for Dr. Sally's chicken soup is also in my website. Let's see, the next thing I wanted to tell you about are the medicinal benefits of leeks. And because they're a part of the onion family, they're rich in a compound called allicin, and that's a sulfur-containing compound. And as you may know, sulfur is really critical for detoxifying, and it actually has some antimicrobial properties. I also mentioned that there is a flavonoid called kaempferol that's present in leeks, especially in the lower green part, but they're in the bulby white part as well. And kaempferol helps our cardiovascular system produce nitric oxide, which is a little gas given off by the endothelial lining of the arteries that relaxes the blood vessels. So this food has real medicinal benefits. The other thing that the leeks are very rich in is folic acid, and that right kind of bioavailable folic acid, the MTHFR folate. So if you eat leeks, you're going to be getting a really great source of folate, the bioavailable folate, as well as antioxidant vitamins like A, C, E, and vitamin K, really rich in this particular veggie. The other thing that leeks and the onion family in general have is a lot of fiber. You might have heard of the fiber called inulin. Inulin is a prebiotic fiber. It actually feeds the good bacteria that live in your intestinal tract. So these really become an important part of my cooking palette. I love them because it has that onion flavor without being overbearing. So you can have leeks without fear of bad breath. So I hope that this is going to help you integrate leeks into your diet. One of my favorite ways to cook them is sauteed with carrots and zucchini, some tarragon. Sometimes I put some thinly sliced fennel in too. And the recipe for these veggies is on Dr. Sally's Kitchen, and it's with the recipe for a pan-roasted salmon on a bed of sauteed vegetables. You'll find that in the main courses section of Dr. Sally's Kitchen, and just prep that as a veggie dish that you can serve alongside any protein you want. It's just going to be incredibly satisfying and delicious. So thanks for joining me today. Meet me back here next Friday. And in fact, why don't you in the comments tell me your mystery vegetables you'd like to understand. I'm thinking of telling you about Romanesco, that cool looking cross between a broccoli and a cauliflower. I want to share some stuff about okra. I've got a recipe for a cannellini bean dip I'm going to share and actually make with you. But I know there's some veggies out there that still stump you. So put it in the chat. Let me know what you think, and have a wonderful summer. See you soon. Bye.